expressed dissatisfaction towards the budget announced by the government on Wednesday, saying that the federal government has allocated 80% of the total budget for the centre itself. The provincial governments have termed the scenario as the centre's attempt to weaken the provincial governments. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the headlines of the hour. Provincial governments express massive grievances against the annual budget, allege the federal government of failing to promote the priorities of provinces. Budget distribution of 60 million rupees to lawmakers for each of the electoral constituencies piles an additional burden of 9.9 billion rupees on national coffers. Donald Trump announces tariffs on all goods coming from Mexico in a bid to curb illegal immigration. And South Africa collapsed in a chase of 312 runs set by England in the inaugural match of the ICC World Cup to go down by 104 runs. Pakistan take on West Indies today. We'll start with the latest national political updates. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is to hold a diplomatic parley with his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi today. Premier Oli, who flew to the Indian capital New Delhi to take part in the Indian Premier's swearing-in ceremony yesterday, is scheduled to hold a meeting with Modi at Hyderabad House in a short while. The meeting between Premier Oli and his Indian counterpart is expected to last for about half an hour. According to officials, the meeting will dwell on the bilateral issues between the two countries. Prime Minister Oli is to also invite the newly elected Prime Minister for an official visit to Nepal. According to the Prime Minister Oli's advisor Rajan Bhattarai, there are possibilities of discussions on the Nepal-India Eminent Persons Group report and the 19th SAARC summit as well. Prime Minister Oli is scheduled to return home at 3:45 later this afternoon. The provincial governments have expressed dissatisfaction towards the budget announced by the centre. They have stated the budget is focused more towards the centre and that the federal government has failed to promote the priorities of the provinces. Finance Minister Yuvraj Khatioda announced the budget for the upcoming fiscal year at a joint session of the House of Representatives and the National Assembly on Wednesday. The total budget for the upcoming fiscal year stands at 1.53 trillion rupees. The provincial government has stated the federal government has allocated 80% of the total budget for the centre itself. All provincial government led by Nepal Communist Party except Province 2 have expressed their dissatisfaction towards the budget. Chief Minister for Gandaki Province Prithvi Subba Gurung went on to the extent of saying the centre did not want the provincial governments to work effectively. The constitution has developed a three-tier government system as the provincial government has accused the centre of trying to keep the provincial government under itself. Based on the current mechanism, the centre can directly provide and utilize the budget at the local levels, while provincial government can only provide suggestions. The provincial governments have termed the scenario as the centre's attempt to weaken the provincial governments. The centre has decided to provide 99.84 billion rupees to the provincial governments, which is lesser than the budget allocated for the ongoing fiscal year. Meanwhile, the centre has allocated 2.13 trillion rupees for the local levels, which the provincial governments have stated shows the centre's apathy towards the provinces. And moving on, the lawmakers have received 60 million rupees, an increase of 20 million from the last fiscal year's annual budget. The lawmakers were earlier criticized for their haphazard spendings on items such as jink seats, bicycles and laptops. It may be recalled that Finance Minister Yuvraj Khatioda was hesitant to allocate budget to the lawmakers in the last fiscal year. However, Minister Khatioda had eventually bowed to the pressure from the ruling Nepal Communist Party to release the budget worth 40 million rupees in each of the electoral constituencies. There was a widespread criticism of the government decision to grant budget to the lawmakers as it was mainly spent on unproductive sector. Prior to formulating budget this fiscal year, the lawmakers had piled pressure on the finance minister to increase the budget to 100 million rupees. The Parliament's Finance Committee had also corresponded with Minister Khatioda with a similar intent to hike the lawmakers' budget. Minister Khatioda continued to be in the bad books of the ruling lawmakers due to the stand he took against the budget allocation. Political analysts thus feel that the finance minister this time around took a flexible stand to mend his way with the ruling lawmakers by expanding the budget by 20 million rupees. In the turn of events, the decision has piled an additional 9.9 billion rupees on the national coffers. The Patan High Court has given a verdict in favour of a petrol station that had been swindling the customers by using remote control device in fuel dispensers. In a bid to protect consumers from being cheated, the Department of Quality Control and Measurement has installed a seal in all fuel stations. However, the owners of Maiti Devi Petrol Suppliers and Chuchepati Fuel Station in the capital have been found using fake seal and installing remote control device to cheat the customers. A survey carried out by the Central Police Forensic Science Laboratory also proved that the petrol stations had tampered with the seal placed by the Department of Quality Control. The owner of both these petrol stations, Nitesh Saria, is the son of Chaturbhuj Saria, the treasurer for Petroleum Dealers Association. The department had filed a criminal case with a possibility of 3 years jail term and 30,000 rupees fine. However, Patan High Court's order, despite evidences against Saria, has allowed for unhindered black marketing. The court's decision has also shown how actions against black marketers have continued to be feeble. Meanwhile, 2 of the petrol stations owned by Amit Saria in Chhapa have been shut down for 3 months now for using similar remote control device. Yesterday, we asked the service seekers at Rajbiraj Municipality Office what problems have they been facing while seeking government services. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
सिफारिस गराउनु छ 4 किलो के रे परमानेन्ट गराउनु छ अब छैन कर्मचारी छैन भने के गर्ने बसिरहेको छु देखि हिजो पनि बसेर गए
कर्मचारी नभएर पुरा 4 किलो निकाल्नको लागि 3-4 दिन दौडिरहेछु काम भइरहेको छैन
खोइ अब हाकिमको के तालमाल छ आउँछ हाजिरी गर्छ भागिहाल्छ भन्छ अब यो कुनको कसलाई म यो दोष दिनु मेयरलाई दोष दिनु कि हाकिमलाई दोष दिनु कि स्थानीय सरकारलाई दोष दिनु कि प्रदेश सरकारलाई दोष दिनु कि अब केन्द्र सरकारलाई दोष दिनु
समस्या नागरिकता बनाउँछु छोराको तबदेखि चाहिँ कर्मचारी छैन
म आज आएको एउटा त्यो मुद्दा दर्ता गराउनको लागि लगभग 11 बजेतिर आएँ अहिले करिब 1:30 बजिरहेछ दर्तामा मान्छे थिएन त्यही बसिराखेको थियो अरु कुनै गर्नेवाला भएन
It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And your question is, what's your take on dissatisfaction on behalf of provinces towards federal budget? Your options are A, result of being ignored, B, failure to gauge a centre's capacity, and C, never satisfied. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And time now for the sports update.
Sports news.
The 12th edition of the Cricket World Cup kicked off from yesterday at London's Oval Stadium, with England registering a crushing win against South Africa. In the inaugural match, South Africa, chasing a victory target of 312 runs, were bowled out for 207 runs to face a 104-run defeat. Sent in to bat first, England lost the first wicket of Johnny Barristow in the second ball of the match, bowled out by leg spinner Imran Tahir. This followed a 106-run partnership for the second wicket between Jason Roy and Zoe Root. Both Roy and Root departed after scoring half-centuries. Ben Stokes top scored with 89 runs, while English skipper Ian Morgan also scored a quick half-century. Imran Tahir and Luigi Ngidi shared 2 wickets each for South Africa. In reply, South Africa were bowled out for 207 runs in 39.5 overs, with the top score of 68 runs scored by Quinton de Kock. Van der Dussen was the only other notable contributor, as he scored 50 runs. Jofra Archer was the pick of the English bowlers with 3 wickets. Liam Plunkett and Ben Stokes shared 2 wickets each. Meanwhile, today's World Cup match features a clash between Pakistan and West Indies at Nottingham in Trent Bridge, England, which will start at 3:15 p.m. Nepal time. And with that, time now for our special segment, Showbiz.
Actor Ashton Kutcher told the Los Angeles jury on 29th of May that he was freaking out after learning that a young woman was found dead in Hollywood the day after he called at her home for a date. The former 2.5 Men star was testifying as a witness at the trial of a man dubbed the Hollywood Ripper, who is charged with the murder of the young woman and 2 others. Kuchar said he arrived at the Hollywood bungalow of fashion design student Ashley Ellerine on the night of February 22, 2001, after speaking to her by phone earlier that evening to arrange a date. But when he got there 2 hours after the call, Kuchar said he found the lights on and the door locked. Ellerine, 22, was found dead at her home the next morning by a roommate. She had been stabbed 47 times. Kuchar, now 41, said when he learned what had happened to Ellerine, he spoke with police and was freaking out because he knew his fingerprints would be on the front door of a home. Michael Garguilo is on trial at Los Angeles Superior Court for the murder of Ellerine and 2 other women and the attempted murder of another. Garguilo was arrested in 2008. He has pleaded not guilty.
And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur TV HD for more news and entertainment. Have a great day ahead.